I always hate it when people go above and beyond to do heinous things to their children. You're not going to believe the story. If you read the title, you already know what's up. But let me give you some of the details. And before we get to the details and we talk about this individual that you guys see on my screen, thank you to Rude for Eyes for sending me this story. She was one of the first. Had a number of people send it to me, but I definitely got to shout her out because that was the one that I absolutely remembered. So let me give you guys a disclaimer and then we'll go ahead and start. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And we're getting this story from foxnews.com. We're no stranger to them, so thank you for the article. The mother of a 3-year-old girl who died after spending more than 11 hours in the woods in freezing weather, that mother has been arrested according to authorities in Georgia. So yeah, just how? It just doesn't make any sense. The mother's name, this individual, this black queen on a pedestal with her crown on, standing on business, right? Standing on business, yes. That's what they were doing out there in the freezing weather, standing on business. Her name is Uriah Ridge, Uriha. If that's not how you pronounce it, I don't care. That's how I'm going to say it. She's 35 years old and faces multiple counts of cruelty to children and 1 count of felony murder, according to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Deputies responded to the Fox Hall Resort. So it sounds like she was on vacation or kicking it, whatever she was doing, before noon on January 16th. So this was not that long ago, in reference to a woman and her 2 children. So I know it said 1 child died, but there were 2 children. 2 children lost in the woods, allegedly. Resort employees assisted deputies in finding Ridge and her 2 children, who were soaking wet, ages 3 and 7 years old, in a wooded area far from the resort they were staying at. And I know some of y'all are wondering, how do you do that? How do you get involved in this situation? How do you get lost in the woods with your kids? How do you do that? The mother and the children were taken to the hospital, where the 3-year-old died to what investigators believe is exposure to the elements. Essentially, it sounds kind of like hypothermia. She froze to death. The consumption of illegal drugs is believed to be the root cause of why Uriah Ridge took her 2 small children into the woods, minimally clothed, in below freezing temperatures, and in the rain for more than 11 hours. That means this stupid son of a bitch was that high that she was in the woods for 11 hours. Do you know what you could do in 11 hours? A normal work shift. So I want y'all to imagine if you went to work. Roughly, if you work a regular 9 to 5, that's usually, 8 hours? Maybe 9? 12 hours is considered to be a very long shift, half of the day. That means she was in the woods for more than, or just less than half of an entire day. Ma'am, you're that freaking high? Like, look at her hair. Why does she look like... I don't know why she looks like that. Let me see if I can find that picture again. She looks like 7 different women. All these pictures look like completely different women. Even these pictures. I'm not saying she's ugly or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, she looks cute here, and then she just looks like a bucket of shit right here. Like, God dog. Just, I don't get it. I could say a lot of other cruel things. I'm going to try to keep my language limited, so I hope you guys are not offended. But let's keep, oh, and just so y'all know, I think I read in an article that I think she was high off cocaine and weed. Just so you know. If you want to know specifically what it was, I could be wrong, so I'm going to say allegedly. It was cocaine and weed. 11 hours. I have never done cocaine, but I'm going to tell you, if that causes me to be in the woods for 11 hours, I'm cool. Nor do I advocate for people being on drugs. But good Lord, man, you got your kids. So you have to ask, why do you have cocaine and children together in the same room? That could get you a lot of years in prison in itself. But nonetheless, the mother was located with a cell phone with a charged battery, authorities said. Online records said that she was arrested on January 19th. So, like I said, about 11 days ago from today. She's being held at Douglas County Sheriff's Office jail without bond. So no bond, and I agree with that. The mother is accused of using cocaine and marijuana before heading outdoors that night, which had a forecast low temperature of 27 degrees. And I'm going to tell you, if it gets under 50 degrees, to me, that's cold. That's freezing level temperature. The TV station investigations team found that Ridge was charged with assault and cruelty towards children in 2022. Let me say that again. A previous charge in 2022 with assault and cruelty to children, but she got to keep her children and continue to be a mother. Now, you would have to ask, does her behavior indicate that she wants to be a mother, a good mother? No, it doesn't. So why would she go out of her way to keep these children that clearly she doesn't love? Oh, that's right, because we got this thing that we call it the AFC, which is our hashtag babies for benefits. She only keeps these children because she gets benefits off of these children, whatever that is. We could speculate and say it's food stamps, Section 8, whatever it is. Maybe it's child support. Maybe it's control over a man. Maybe it's control over children. Or maybe she just flat out not the brightest crayon in the box. Ridge's 7-year-old child was also hospitalized as a result of this incident, but DCSO did not provide an update on his condition. Let's see, is there anything else? I think that's everything. This article is really crazy long. But let me go ahead and give you guys the fair uses. I got a couple of news videos, so let's take a look at that. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And for those who are watching this video, do me a favor and click that thumbs up. It helps us tremendously. Let's go ahead and take a look at these news videos.
Minutes are developing right now. A mother charged with murder accused of causing the death of her 3-year-old child.
This is really a heartbreaking story with disturbing details tonight. Deputies say Uriah Ridge took her 3- and 7-year-olds outside in the pouring rain with very little clothing on as temperatures dip below freezing. We're talking about nearly 11 hours.
Somebody in the chat said that she was drinking also. I can absolutely believe that. I can believe it. But I didn't read that part. I might have missed it. I looked at quite a few different articles, but so we have somebody in the chat that said that she was drinking also. So we can definitely add that into the equation.
11 Live's Cody Alcorn following this story for us tonight. He's joining us live from Douglasville. And Cody, this story is really unbelievable and incredibly sad for these children.
Yeah, Jennifer, Ron, just awful. Just about everybody asking how in the world could a mother do this to her own children? Now, what we know from detectives here at the Douglas County Sheriff's Office is that she was on some type of drugs when she led her children into those woods about 10 miles from here from the sheriff's office at Foxhall Resort. Now, what we can tell you is that detectives say late last Monday night, it's right when the rain stopped and the temperature started dropping, she was high on drugs and walked her children, 3 and 7, into those woods from Foxhall Resort, where the family was actually staying. Now, we are talking again, temperatures dipping through the night, touching the freezing mark. Detectives say these kids were barely dressed. They stayed out in these elements. They were already soaking wet from the rain, those temperatures dipping. They were out there until Tuesday morning around 11:50 when the hotel staff helped find them. That's when the sheriff's office showed up and started their investigation. And unfortunately, the 3-year-old died from their exposure to those elements out in the weather. The 7-year-old hospitalized and still recovering. And literally just a short time ago tonight, I caught up with a woman who tells me she actually picked up Ridge and her 2 children in an Uber just hours before she led them into the woods. She says that she drove them to Atlanta and that Ridge told her it was for work, but picked up Ridge and her 2 covering. And literally just a short time ago tonight, I caught up with a woman who tells me she actually picked up Ridge and her 2 children in an Uber just hours before she led them into the woods. She says that she drove them to Atlanta and that Ridge told her it was for work, but she says she found it strange because, again, her children were still with her in the Uber.
And she's a user, and she's a liar. She lied. Said she was going for work, but had her kids with her in the car also, as if she was taking her kids to work with her. So now we know that that is not accurate information.
She was fine. They were in pajama pants. I asked them, did they like staying at Foxhall? And she was like, yeah, we're renovating our house, so we're staying there, temporarily till our house is ready. The kids were fine. Nothing really stood out like I should have been concerned or stuff. But now, I'm wishing I would have done something.
And I agree, a lot of this does not make sense. And to make it even more bizarre, detectives tell us tonight that during this whole ordeal, during the whole 11 hours out in the woods, freezing temperatures, she had a cell phone that was working at the time, and they say she was continuing to do drugs with her children out there. As you can imagine, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. Why did this happen and how did it happen? We're expecting to get some more answers later this week when Ridge is expected to face a judge on that felony murder charge here in Douglasville.
First time the woman police say caused her child's death after taking a 3-year-old into the woods for hours appeared in a Douglas County courtroom.
This is such a sad story. Police say she was high on drugs at the time of that incident. 11 Alive's Bobeth Yates was in court today. She joins us now live in Douglasville. Bobeth, what happened today?
Well, Uriah Ridge heard the charges against her, which include felony murder and cruelty to children in the 2nd degree. Now, according to the arrest warrant on January 16th, Ridge took her 2 children into a wooded area near Foxhall Resort, and they were out there for hours after allegedly getting lost. Police maintain she was high on cocaine and marijuana at the time, and officials say it was wet and freezing out. As a result, Ridge's 7-year-old daughter was sent to the hospital, and her youngest, the 3-year-old Alina, died.
Causing the death of Alina Pascal, a human being, a child, by taking the aforementioned child into the woods in the rain and freezing temperatures below 32 degrees Fahrenheit with minimal clothing for a period of over 11 hours, causing the child to become hypothermic and to die from exposure.
Tonight in Douglas County, a 3-year-old girl is dead and her mother is in jail on child abuse charges. Deputies say that woman spent the night in the woods with her 2 kids while on drugs. Tonight we're learning this is not her first arrest for cruelty to children. Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo has spent the evening piecing all of this together. He joins us now in Douglas County. Such a tragic situation, Rob.
Yeah, Courtney, some pretty unbelievable details we're finding out. Douglas County Sheriff's deputies announced this arrest and this death earlier this evening. The woman claimed she was lost in the woods, but deputies say her phone was on the entire time. This wet, cold weather proved deadly for her 3-year-old daughter. Investigators in Douglas County say Uriah Ridge was in the woods with her kids for nearly 12 hours. Deputies responded to the Foxhall Resort on Capps Ferry Road and found Ridge and those 2 kids last Tuesday. They say the kids were drenched. The low the night before was just 27 degrees. Medics took them to the hospital where the 3-year-old girl, Elena, died. Sheriff's deputies say they vanished around midnight, and Ridge didn't call for help until almost noon the next day, despite her phone being charged. They allege Ridge used cocaine and weed before heading out into those woods near the resort. She's now been charged with felony murder. There's no word on the condition of the other child who was with her. The Fox 5 I team uncovered this isn't her first run-in with cops on child abuse charges. In 2022, she was charged with assault and cruelty towards children. According to the warrant, she was accused of beating Alina, who was 2 at the time. While Fox 5 I team uncovered this isn't her first run-in with cops on Fox 5 I team uncovered this isn't her first run-in with cops. Fox 5 I team uncovered this isn't her first run-in with cops. Fox 5 I team uncovered this isn't her first run-in with cops on child abuse charges. In 2022, she was charged with assault and cruelty towards children. According to the warrant, she was accused of beating Alina, who was 2 at the time. While
she was already beating on this child. So in all actuality, I don't know if you can get first-degree murder or what degree of murder you can get. They're trying to charge her with murder. But if she was already charged with harming this child, how does she get to continue to keep being a parent? That's ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. But I replayed that so y'all could hear, even though I know we already spoke it. So we now know that the little girl's name is Elena. So we're going to pay respect to Elena, to baby Elena. That's crazy, man. That is absolutely insane.
Dropping her while she was, quote, heavily intoxicated. A judge gave her bond and she was able to keep her kids. Last week, a day after the 3-year-old's death, the DA asked for that bond to be...
So she paid a bond or whatever, and then she got to keep her kids. I mean, did they put her through parenting courses, anger management, Alcoholics Anonymous, anything? Like, no program that they have to follow. There's no follow-up with this. Just, here you go, have your kids back, don't do it no more. And then we wonder why these children who are abused as kids, and when they grow up, they can't be functioning adults, and now we have less functioning adults in the world. So imagine if somebody like her has two kids, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and they're all being abused. They all don't have stability. None of them know what a father looks like. A biological father on top of that. They don't know what family reunions look like. They don't know what regular family discourse is. They don't know how to communicate. They have no supervision, no protection. Just anything and everything happens to them. Things happen. They can't trust anybody, can't talk to anybody. And we wonder, and we look now for those of us who are in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s or older, who are still like in the dating phase, dating people, meeting people, and we wonder, like, why are there so many screwed up people out here? And it starts as children. And you have a lot of the good ones and some of the bad ones, but a lot of the good ones are already off the market. And then you look at this and you wonder, like, a lot of y'all ladies might be wondering, like, there are no good men out here. And you look and see how we're producing children, and y'all don't see this cycle. Like, I hate seeing a woman talk to her kids. A woman in particular, a friend of mine, she watches the show sometime, and I'm not going to call her name out or nothing like that. But to sit and watch any woman raise her voice at her kids, yell at her kids, cuss and fuss at her kids, and I'm like, ma'am, that's not necessary. Like, why do you feel the need to speak that way? Like, would you talk to your boss like that? Would you talk to a police officer like that? Would you talk to your boyfriend like that? Would you talk to your own mother like that? Then why do you talk to your kids as if they're subservient and they like are lower than dirt? Like they need to be praising the ground that you walk on or something. Like we're not appreciative of our children. That's my point.
Revoked.
And do me a favor, y'all, please hit that thumbs up. We're trying to bring a normal amount of people back in here so that way we can continue to grow our community. So if you're watching, hit that thumbs up. We got a lot more to talk about.
And we do have calls out to the DA's office to see if this could have been prevented. She is set to be arraigned tomorrow at 1:30 in Douglas County Court. Meanwhile, tonight she is behind bars in shelter in the Douglas County Jail. In Douglas County, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
Let me tell y'all something I think that might piss some of the ladies off. Shout out to my ladies in the chat. I think a lot of you guys see, I notice what I have is I have a lot of ladies in my chat that some listen and they understand. You have some that listen simply to just respond and they want to say something. And then you have those that don't listen at all. But let me say this, and I want to just see if you guys agree or disagree. There's a saying that they believe philosophy-wise that men will give up their happiness for their family. They will give up their happiness to preserve and save their family. On the flip side, they believe that women will give up their family to preserve their own happiness. Will Smith, excuse me, Jada Pinkett. Oh, shoot. Might not be a good example, but I'm just saying that's something to think about. What do y'all think about that? And by the way, let me preface, no, it's not all. It ain't all. I hate when people email me and they be like, Jay, it wasn't in my situation personally. Personally, that didn't happen to me. That's not how I was growed up. When I'm speaking in general, which means a collective of people, a large group of people in general, hashtag it's never all. But I have seen a lot of situations where women will give up their family for their own personal happiness, which is why you see a lot of higher scale women out there. They got a lot of money, got a lot of access, and nothing seems to make them happy. There are women that don't have money and they claim that if you give them more money, you support them, you pay their bills, and they're gonna stick with you, they're gonna ride it out, but you gotta support them. And once you do that, then it seems like they just kind of just waddle on away. That didn't really get it done, because I believe that they don't really know what their true purpose is. They don't really know what will truly make them happy. And I believe that if you find your purpose, you can find your happiness. Hello. I think that was pretty deep. I know I might look like a bottle of molasses that was left in the freezing rain in Georgia. Not that bright. But I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that if you find your purpose, you can find happiness. If you travel, you can find happiness. If you are patient and if you're open-minded, you can find happiness. But I'll tell you this. I think this woman literally used her children, does not care about them, and had them because she was looking to get praise for being a mother. Something that I noticed about women, and I like to call this type of stuff out, is that this, and not all, but I've noticed a lot of women will get on to other women, especially black women, will get on to other women if they don't have children, and they'll be like, well, damn, what's wrong with you? Something wrong with you? Are you like referring to their ovaries, maybe referring to maybe a man don't actually like them like that. They're not a desirable woman if they don't have children, or maybe choosing to be responsible with their reproductive rights. A lot of y'all might have heard that if you didn't have children by a certain age, or chose not to have children at all, or maybe had issues having children. That's a bit cruel to say to any human being. Why don't you have children? Like you should just produce them just for the hell of it. But I've got some more stories. Y'all have got to follow this channel and just see the amount of things that I continue to keep exposing and show how too many of these people are not producing children for the right reasons. I believe that she produced these beautiful angels. Look at her. and her son. Beautiful children, beautiful babies. Give me those children. I give them an opportunity to grow up and become something great. But you just have too many children in this world that are being born and people having them for selfish reasons. And I think that's got to stop. I think this woman needs life in prison, and that should just be the end of it. Give her son a chance to grow up in somebody else's household. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section, okay? Thank you.